What's up, guys? I am Reese Highlight Humphrey, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about personal motivation and under our current situation where we have to practice social distancing and some of us are in quarantine, we are going to have to be able to motivate ourselves. We might not have our coaches, our workout partners, but we always have our self-drive and our own motivation and will to succeed if we use it in the right manner. So I want to talk about my experience a little bit and mainly the cardio and the stance motion and things you do like that on your own, away from your team, is what I'm really going to be focusing on. So in my whole career, I don't know if I ever went on a jog. I might have went outside to run and take it easy, but I always had that competition and that motivation to work way harder and get the most out of that workout. And so I always ended up turning it into a run or with strides and sprints attached to it. It ended up always being a very intense workout outside of weight cutting. If I was cutting weight, I would have the treadmill set at maybe a 7 or 8 and I would coast just to break the sweat and do that. But that's a little bit different story. If I was going for a run on my cardio days, it was always very intense. And the reason why is because I got competitive and I used this skill of visualizing my opponents. Some of the toughest opponents I had to wrestle were in the States. A couple were in my room, Logan Stever and Sean Bunch, but the guys that I never saw outside of competition were guys like Jimmy Kennedy, Coleman Scott, and a couple other guys I'm forgetting right now. But I would visualize them as I'm running. I would picture one behind me and one in front of me. And when I was doing a stride, I might pass the guy in front of me. If I was having a lull in my run, I would visualize these guys going ahead of me. And being a competitor, especially against the guys I'm really going to be competing against, I would picture them there and it would be like I was running with them, and that would make me run harder to the point where I fully fatigue myself and get the most out of those runs. Another way to work very hard by yourself, and if you're quarantined, this is another perfect thing, probably the most wrestling specific thing you can do, is stance motion. When you're in stance motion, I would study film right before I went, and I would look up my guys, like say Jimmy Kennedy liked collar tie with his right hand. I would look up their initial contact, I would think about how I'm gonna stop it, and then I would visualize blocking and gaining my tie. I would visualize getting to their leg and how do they do their defensive attacks and what I would do to prepare for them. While I'm doing stance motion, I can go over all those different things and be way more prepared. Put yourself on the edge of the mat in your head. Put yourself giving up a takedown. Put them on your leg. Do all these things so when it happens in a real match, I don't have stress. I'm not anxious about it. I've been there 100, 1,000 times, depending on how often you do stance motion. When I was training for the Olympics, I did 2x20 stance motion, so 40 minutes of stance motion. I did that 3 times a week. And I found it to be very beneficial, not only for my legs and for my cardio, but for my mindset and putting myself in that position for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, all the time, constantly. Another thing you guys need to focus on is having a plan. I used to do 11 workouts a week. So depending on what my coach put me through for, let's say we were on the mat 5 times, I'd have to get another 6 off the mat. And the intensity level would vary depending on how hard my college or my coach's workouts were on the mat. But I would always make sure I hit that number 11. And that was for me. Everybody's different. And I always went through very intense workouts, so 11 was a lot. But I got the most out of it, and I think you guys can do the same thing. If you have a plan, write it down, stick to it, and do it for more than a week. Do it for the month, do it for the entire year, do it for 20 years, for your whole entire career. I think it's very important to stick to that stuff. So guys, thanks for watching. If you found value in this, why don't you go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/highlighthumphrey. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Make sure you share this with somebody.